But it also feels like in this industry, and I know I'm maybe getting way off topic here, but too many people were like me in a sense. They had some success, they've gone through it a few times, and they feel like now I can do it, right? And I can coach all these people. Admittedly, I think I can do it really well up to the final month. You know what I mean? Where it gets down to that last peak. But I don't feel like a lot of other coaches recognize the fact that maybe they shouldn't be coaching because they don't, you know what I mean? That they're really doing a lot of, they're altering people's bodies and they're manipulating their health. And I've heard of these horror stories of like putting people for like 2 hours of cardio, girls with their hair falling out and all this stuff going on. And it feels very irresponsible. And at least I can recognize that fact about myself, right? Yeah. That there's a lot more, but I don't really feel like a lot of other coaches out there know this. And I mean, what do you?
Yeah, it can be hard to know if you should dip your toe in that arena, right?
Yeah.
So I always tell people, I think before you even get to like the diet and training methods, right? Yeah. I always say there's 2 prerequisites that I ask, well, especially early on in my career, that I would ask myself. Yeah. One, can I do it better than they're currently doing it on their own?
Right.
I would ask myself that question seriously. And early on, I had a couple of like high-level pros, earlier on in my career that came to me for coaching, and I even questioned. I was like, I'm not sure if I can do better than you're currently doing yourself at that point in my career. And I would just kind of let them know, like, hey, just letting you know, you've been doing really well. I have some questions what I can improve. I have some thoughts what that might improve, but I have some questions. And then I would kind of put it in their court, right? Like, do you want to take that risk? And then the other thing is, can I do it safely?
Right.
If I can't do those 2 things, I don't think I'm the right guy for the job, right? So even like early on, sometimes I think early coaches that are newer to the game, they lament the fact that they're getting like newbie clients, first-time competitor, second-time competitor. I'm like, that's where you're at. Those are the people you're going to help the most. Do good work there, and then you move up the ladder.
Yeah.
And then, so that's a factor of, And then the other thing is, are you improving as a coach? I mean, I have foundations that I have in place that have been there for a long time as a coach, but I'm constantly changing little things, and I know I've changed some things since we've worked together. I kept some of the big pieces in place that I've definitely found worked, but in terms of even peaking and how lean I get somebody and when, like early on in my career, I used to have people too lean too early. I'd be like, striated glutes at 8 weeks out, sure, it's fine, And so like, if you want my advice on like developing good coaching habits, and I still do this, I've been coaching 13 years now, going on 14. At the end of every contest season, I do a self-audit of my coaching. I go through and I look at the clients that I thought did particularly well. Not always the winners. I would say who got the absolute most out of their ability, right? Mm-hmm. I go back and I look at like, what did I do that went so right? What words did I say to them? What did I do with their diet and training? What did I do with their cardio? What was their body type and why did it work so well? I also looked at the ones that I didn't think went as well. Like I could have gotten more out of them, and I audit. What could I have said, maybe at 10 weeks out, I should have really started putting my foot on the gas more. Maybe I didn't speak to them with enough urgency to get them to buy in earlier and buckle down earlier. Whatever it is, I always tell people, even if the client failed to do their end of things, I also failed. I have a personal responsibility. I failed because I didn't impart to them the urgency or the necessity of doing their part as well. So I didn't put together the right string of words or make the diet changes or whatever. So self-audits, big part of the process, I believe. What do you do well and how do you keep doing it, and what did you do poorly and how do you avoid doing it? One
thing, and I didn't ever do this with you, but I kept learning one thing is not to complain. And the reason being is let's see how to explain this. Like if I don't like to do deadlifts and I'm complaining about it, it's usually because I'm not very good at deadlifts, and there's something about deadlifts that I probably should be doing them, but because I don't like to do it, it means that there's something about that lift that, you know what I mean, that I'm weak at, or it's not my strength. Everyone wants to do the thing that they are most comfortable with. Yeah. And if you're complaining about something, it's probably because you're not good at it, and that's what you need to improve on. And so there for a while, I was training with someone named Ann Sheehan, and I always noticed that if I ever complained about, hey, you know, my lower back, I don't want to do the good mornings, next week there'd be more good mornings on the program.
I always try to distinguish between a complaint and a concern.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, complaints and concerns are definitely two different deals. Yeah.
So I just usually learn don't complain, because that usually is exposing what I'm really bad at, and then you get more of it.
Yeah.